Captain Maya Torres stood in formation at Fort Harrison, her boots planted firm on the dusty training ground. The morning sun beat down on the South Carolina base, but she didn't flinch. 20 years of service had taught her to endure far worse than heat. She was 42 years old, one of the few women to reach her rank in combat engineering. Her dark hair was pulled back tight, and her uniform was crisp despite the early hour. The American flag patch on her right shoulder had been there through 3 deployments. It meant everything to her. Today was the annual combat readiness drill. Soldiers from different units would work together under pressure, testing their skills in simulated battlefield conditions. Maya had run this drill dozens of times. She knew every step, every protocol. Standing across from her was Lieutenant Derek Hale. He was 31, broad-shouldered, and had never seen real combat. He'd spent most of his career at stateside bases, moving up through connections rather than merit. His face wore a smirk that Maya had learned to recognize over the years, the look of a man who thought women didn't belong in uniform. "Attention," Colonel Warren's voice cut through the morning air. "Today's drill will test your ability to work under combat conditions. You'll be paired up. Trust your partner. Follow orders. Stay sharp." Maya glanced at the roster. Her heart sank. She was paired with Hale. The drill began with a simulated rescue operation. 2 soldiers were wounded in a mock explosion. Maya and Hale had to reach them, provide first aid, and extract them under simulated enemy fire. Smoke grenades filled the air. Blank rounds cracked overhead. Maya moved fast, keeping low. She'd done this for real in Afghanistan. The smoke didn't bother her. Neither did the noise. She reached the first casualty, a young private named Jennings, and began checking his vitals. "Secure the perimeter first," Hale shouted at her from 20 feet away. Maya didn't look up. "The casualty is bleeding out. Perimeter can wait 10 seconds. She wrapped the pressure bandage quickly, her hands steady. Jennings gave her a grateful nod. He was playing his role, but she treated it like the real thing. That's what training meant, treating every drill like it mattered. Hale stormed over, his face red. "I gave you an order, Captain." "And I made a tactical decision," Maya said evenly. "The patient comes first." Other soldiers were watching now. The drill continued around them, but attention had shifted. Hale stepped closer, his jaw tight with anger. In that moment, Maya saw something dangerous in his eyes, not just disagreement, but contempt. "You think you know better than me." Hale's voice was low but harsh. "I think I've been in actual combat," Maya replied, "and I know how to prioritize." Hale reached out suddenly and grabbed her shoulder, not to hurt her, but to make a point. His fingers caught the edge of her flag patch. Maya heard the tear before she felt it. The stitching gave way, and the patch ripped half off her uniform, hanging by a thread. Time seemed to stop. Maya looked down at her damaged patch. That flag had been with her through everything. Through the ambush in Kandahar, where she'd pulled 3 wounded soldiers to safety. Through the long nights away from her daughter. Through every moment of doubt and struggle. Hale stepped back, but the smirk returned to his face. "Oops," he said. "Maybe you should have secured the perimeter like I said." Maya's hands clenched into fists. 20 years of discipline kept her voice level. "You need to step back, Lieutenant." "Or what?" Hale crossed his arms. "You going to file a complaint? Good luck with that. Everyone here saw you disobey a direct order." The other soldiers had stopped completely now. The drill had fallen apart. Everyone was watching to see what Captain Maya Torres would do. She could feel their eyes on her. Some looked sympathetic, others looked uncomfortable. A few looked like they agreed with Hale. Before Maya could respond, a voice cut through the tension like a knife. "What's going on here?" Everyone turned. Walking toward them through the clearing smoke was Master Sergeant Sea-eyed Rodriguez. He was 56 years old, built like a tank, with gray hair and dark eyes that missed nothing. He'd been at Fort Harrison for 30 years, longer than anyone else on the base. Sea-eyed was a legend. He'd served in the Gulf War, Iraq, and Afghanistan. He'd trained thousands of soldiers. More importantly, he had a reputation for absolute fairness. When Sea-eyed spoke, people listened, regardless of rank. Just a training accident, Master Sergeant, Hale said quickly. The smirk was gone now. Sea-eyed walked slowly toward Maya. His eyes dropped to her torn patch, then rose to her face. That true, Captain Tors? Maya met his gaze. She could lie. She could let it go. She'd let things go before, swallowed her pride to avoid making waves. That's what women in the military often had to do. But something in Sea-eyed's eyes told her not to. No, Master Sergeant, Maya said clearly. It's not true. Hale's face went pale. Sea-eyed nodded slowly. I see. He turned to look at Hale, then at the soldiers gathered around. Drill's over. Everyone return to your units. Lieutenant Hale, Captain Tors, you're both coming with me. As they walked toward the command building, Maya felt her heart pounding. She just crossed a line. She just refused to let it go. Behind them, she heard soldiers whispering. Some sounded supportive. Others sounded skeptical. But one voice carried clearly through the morning air, Private Jennings, the soldier she'd treated first. She stopped to help me, he said to someone. She didn't do anything wrong. Maya didn't turn around, but she heard it, and it mattered. Inside the command building, Sea-eyed directed them to a small office. He closed the door and turned to face them both. His expression was unreadable. Now, he said quietly, someone's going to tell me exactly what happened, and it better be the truth. Maya took a breath. This was it, the moment that could define the rest of her career. The office was small and windowless, with concrete walls painted pale green. A desk, 3 chairs, and a filing cabinet were the only furniture. Maya sat straight-backed in one chair. Hale slouched in the other, his confidence already cracking. Master Sergeant Sea-eyed stood with his arms crossed, his back to the closed door. His face showed no emotion, but his eyes were sharp. Start from the beginning, Sea-eyed said. Captain Tors, you first. Maya kept her voice steady. We were paired for the rescue drill. I reached Private Jennings first and assessed his simulated injuries. The scenario called for immediate pressure bandage application. Lieutenant Hale ordered me to secure the perimeter first. I judged that the patient's condition was critical and required immediate attention. That's insubordination, Hale interrupted. I was the designated team leader for this drill. Sea-eyed held up one hand. Lieutenant, you'll get your turn. Let the captain finish. Maya continued. After I applied the bandage, Lieutenant Hale approached me aggressively. He grabbed my shoulder, and in doing so, he tore my unit patch from my uniform. It was an accident, Hale said quickly. I was trying to redirect her attention. Lieutenant, Sea-eyed's voice dropped lower. I won't tell you again, wait your turn. Hale went quiet, but his jaw was tight. Go on, Captain, Sea-eyed said. After he tore my patch, Lieutenant Hale made it clear it was intentional. He said I should have followed his orders. Then you arrived, Master Sergeant. Sea-eyed nodded slowly. He turned to Hale. Your version. Hale sat up straighter. Master Sergeant, with respect, Captain Tors did disobey my order. I was designated team leader. In a real combat situation, that kind of insubordination could get people killed. I approached her to make that clear. The patch tearing was completely accidental. My hand caught it as I gestured. I apologize for the damage to her uniform, but the underlying issue remains. She refused to follow orders. Interesting, Sea-eyed said. He walked to the desk and leaned against it. Tell me, Lieutenant, what does combat leadership protocol say about medical emergencies? Hale hesitated. That they should be addressed quickly. Try again. That immediate life-threatening injuries take priority over tactical positioning in secure zones. And was the training zone secure? Another pause. Yes, Master Sergeant. So Captain Tors made the correct tactical decision according to protocol. Hale's face reddened. In theory, yes, but... No buts, Lieutenant. Either she followed protocol or she didn't. Which is it? She followed protocol, Hale admitted quietly. Sea-eyed pushed off from the desk. Now let's talk about what I saw. I was observing this drill from the western position about 50 yards away. I had binoculars. I watched the whole thing. Maya felt relief flood through her. Hale went very still. I saw Captain Torres reach the casualty and begin immediate treatment, Sea-eyed continued. I saw you, Lieutenant, delay your response by approximately 8 seconds while you argued with her. I saw you approach her aggressively. And I saw you grab her shoulder and tear that patch. Master Sergeant, I didn't mean. The question isn't what you meant, the question is what you did, and what you said after. Sea-eyed's voice was calm, but there was steel underneath. I was close enough to hear. You said, let's see who can save you, or something similar. You said maybe you should have secured the perimeter like I said. Does that sound accidental to you? Hale said nothing. I've been in the Army for 34 years, Sea-eyed said. I've seen a lot of things. I've seen good soldiers make mistakes. I've seen scared soldiers freeze up. I've seen brave soldiers do incredible things. And I've seen bullies try to tear down people who make them feel small. That's not what this was, Hale protested. Isn't it? Sea-eyed's gaze was steady. Captain Torres has 3 combat deployments, 2 Bronze Stars, a Purple Heart, 20 years of exemplary service. You've been stateside your entire career. You've never led soldiers under fire. Yet you felt qualified to question her tactical judgment in a situation she's handled dozens of times in real combat. The room went quiet. Here's what's going to happen, Sea-eyed said. Lieutenant Hale, you're going to write a formal apology to Captain Torres. You're also going to write an incident report detailing exactly what happened, including your mistake. That report will go in your file. Additionally, you're suspended from training duties for 30 days while we review your leadership conduct. Master Sergeant, that's getting off easy, Sea-eyed cut him off. What you did was assault, Lieutenant. You physically grabbed a superior officer and damaged her uniform. In some interpretations, that's destruction of military property. I could have you up on charges right now. Instead, I'm giving you a chance to own your mistake and learn from it. I suggest you take it. Hale's face had gone from red to white. He nodded stiffly. You're dismissed, Sea-eyed said. Report to Colonel Warren's office at 1400 hours. He'll want to discuss this personally. Hale stood, shot one venomous look at Maya, and left the room. The door closed behind him with a soft click. Sea-eyed turned to Maya. His expression softened slightly. How are you holding up, Captain? I'm fine, Master Sergeant, Maya said, but her hands were shaking slightly. No, you're not, Sea-eyed said gently. And that's okay. What happened out there was wrong. You handled it with more restraint than most would have. I've dealt with worse, Maya said quietly. I know you have. I read your service record before I came here. Afghanistan, 2014, you held your position for 6 hours under sustained fire while coordinating medevac for your entire squad. Every one of them survived. That's not something everyone can say. Maya felt her throat tighten. People rarely mentioned that day. She'd received a Bronze Star, but she'd also lost something that day, a piece of herself that never quite came back. That patch, Sea-eyed said, nodding toward her shoulder. It means something to you. It's from my first deployment, Maya said. I've worn it through everything. Then we'll get it fixed, properly. There's a seamstress in town, Mrs. Chun. She's done work for military families for 40 years. She'll make it right. Thank you, Master Sergeant. Sea-eyed pulled out a chair and sat down across from her. I want to tell you something, Captain. What happened today, that's going to have ripples. Hale has friends on this base. Some of them outrank both of us. There are going to be people who think you made a big deal out of nothing, who think you should have just let it go. I know, Maya said. But you didn't let it go, and that took courage, more courage than most people understand. Sea-eyed leaned forward. I've been watching you since you arrived at Fort Harrison 2 years ago. You're a good officer. You care about your soldiers. You lead by example. That's rare. I'm just doing my job. No, Captain, you're doing more than that, and people notice, the right people. Sea-eyed stood. Take the rest of the day, get that patch fixed. Tomorrow we'll start fresh. Maya stood as well. Master Sergeant, can I ask you something? Of course. Why did you step in? You didn't have to get involved. Sea-eyed was quiet for a moment. When I was a young sergeant back in the 90s, I watched a good soldier get pushed out of the army because people like Hale made her life miserable. She was better than most of us, but she couldn't fight the whole system alone. I didn't speak up for her then. I've regretted it for 30 years. He met Maya's eyes. I won't make that mistake again. Maya felt something shift in her chest. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This isn't over. But we'll face it together. You're not alone in this, Captain. As Maya left the building and stepped back into the bright Carolina sunlight, she felt different. The anger was still there, simmering beneath the surface. But there was something else now too, hope. Maybe, just maybe, things could change. Maybe standing up for herself had been the right choice. She reached up and gently touched her torn patch. Tomorrow she'd get it fixed. Today she'd hold her head high. The next morning, Maya arrived at her office to find a note taped to her door. It was written in block letters. Nobody likes a snitch. She pulled it down, crumpled it, and threw it in the trash. But her hands were shaking. Word had spread fast. By breakfast, everyone on base knew what had happened. The story had gotten twisted in the retelling. Some versions made Hale look like the victim, others made Maya sound hysterical. Very few versions told the truth. Maya sat in the mess hall with her coffee, trying to ignore the whispers. A few soldiers nodded at her respectfully as they passed, but more avoided eye contact. 2 lieutenants she'd worked with for months walked right past her table without acknowledgement. Mind if I sit? Maya looked up. Private Junung stood there with his breakfast tray, looking nervous but determined. He was 23, fresh-faced, still new to military life. Of course, Maya said. Junung sat down. I just wanted to say thank you, ma'am, for what you did during the drill, and for standing up afterward. You don't need to thank me, Private. I was just doing my job. That's not what people are saying. Junungs lowered his voice. Some of the guys are talking like you got Lieutenant Hale in trouble for nothing, like you're trying to ruin his career. Maya's jaw tightened. What do you think? I think you treated me like I mattered, Junungs said simply. Even though it was just a drill, you didn't waste time arguing. You just helped. That's what a real leader does. Thank you, Private. That means a lot. After Junungs left, Maya sat alone with her coffee. The mess hall was starting to empty. Morning duties were calling everyone to their posts. But before Maya could leave, Captain Frank Murasun slid into the seat across from her. Murasun was 45, thick around the middle, with thinning hair and a permanent frown. He commanded the logistics battalion, one of the cushier positions on base. He was also known to be friends with Lieutenant Hale's father, a retired colonel. Morning tours, Murasun said. His tone was cold. Captain Murasun, heard about your incident yesterday. Shame how things got blown out of proportion. Maya set down her coffee cup carefully. I don't think defending myself is out of proportion. See, that's the problem. You call it defending yourself. Others call it causing unnecessary drama. Murasun leaned back in his chair. Hale's a good officer. Young, maybe a little rough around the edges, but he's got potential. Now you've got him suspended and under review. That'll follow him for years. He tore my patch and then mocked me for it. That's not okay. It was an accident. It wasn't. Maya's voice remained level, but there was steel in it. Master Sergeant Rodriguez witnessed the entire thing. Hale grabbed me deliberately. Murasun waved a hand dismissively. Seaid's been here too long. He's from a different era. Things were different back then. Now everyone's so sensitive about every little thing. Assault isn't a little thing. Assault, Murasun laughed sharply. You're calling that assault? He touched your shoulder. Come on, Tors, you're a combat veteran. I thought you were tougher than this. Maya felt heat rising in her chest. This was the game. They'd try to make her doubt herself, make her feel like she was overreacting. She'd seen it before. I am tough, Captain. That's why I'm still here after 20 years. But being tough doesn't mean accepting disrespect. Morrison's expression hardened. You know what your problem is? You don't know when to let things go. You're always so rigid, so by the book. That's why people don't warm up to you. I didn't join the army to be liked. I joined to serve. And that attitude right there, that's why you'll never make major. Nobody wants to work with someone who throws their colleagues under the bus. Morrison stood up. You made your bed, Tors. Now you get to lie in it. He walked away, leaving Maya alone at the table. The rest of the day didn't get better. During the afternoon briefing, Maya presented her engineering unit's readiness report. Normally, this was routine, just numbers and logistics. But today, Captain Davis from the training division interrupted her 3 times to question her figures. Major Lee, who usually supported her initiatives, was cold and distant. After the meeting, Maya overheard 2 officers talking in the hallway. "She's making the whole base look bad," one said. "Like we're all out to get women or something." Hale said she's been difficult for months, always questioning orders, always thinking she knows better. Maya kept walking. Her office was just ahead. She could make it. But when she got there, she found her desk had been rearranged. Her files were out of order. Her coffee mug, the one her daughter had given her, was missing. Small things, petty things, but they sent a message: you're not welcome here. Maya sat down heavily in her chair. For the first time in 20 years, she wondered if she'd made a mistake by joining the army. She'd given everything to this uniform. She'd missed birthdays and holidays. She'd put her life on the line. And for what? To be treated like this. There was a knock on her door. "Come in," Maya said, trying to keep her voice steady. Master Sergeant Sea-eyed entered, closing the door behind him. He took one look at her face and sighed. "It's been rough today." "You could say that." Sea-eyed pulled up a chair. "I heard about Morrison's little talk this morning, and I noticed the cold shoulder at the briefing." "How did you?" "I've been around long enough to know how these things work. When someone rocks the boat, the whole crew tries to throw them overboard." Sea-eyed's expression was sympathetic but firm. "It's not right, but it's reality." "Maybe I should have just kept quiet," Maya said quietly. "Let it go like I always do." "No," Sea-eyed's voice was sharp. "Don't start thinking like that. What Hale did was wrong. What these others are doing now is also wrong. You standing up for yourself was right." "It doesn't feel right. It feels like I'm being punished." "You are being punished by people who are scared." Maya looked up at him. Scared of what? Scared of change, scared of accountability, scared that if you can stand up, others will too, and then they'll have to face their own behavior. Sea-eyed leaned forward. "Listen to me, Captain. In a few days, Colonel Warren is convening a formal review of the incident. You'll need to testify, so will Hale. So will I and anyone else who witnessed it." "What if they find in his favor?" "They won't. The evidence is clear. But even if things don't go perfectly, you'll have stood your ground. You'll have shown every soldier on this base, especially the young ones, that speaking up is possible. That matters more than you know." "I don't feel very strong right now." "Strength isn't about never feeling scared or hurt. It's about doing what's right even when it costs you something." Sea-eyed stood. "Go home tonight, Captain. Rest. Tomorrow's Friday, you've got the weekend to recharge. And on Monday, we'll face whatever comes next. Together." After Sea-eyed left, Maya sat in the quiet office for a long moment. Then she picked up her phone and called her daughter. "Hey, Mom." 17-year-old Sophie answered on the second ring. She was staying with Maya's sister in Georgia while Maya was stationed at Fort Harrison. "Hi, sweetheart. How was school?" "Same old. How's the base? Are you okay? You sound tired." Maya smiled despite everything. Sophie always could read her, even over the phone. "I'm okay. Just had a tough couple of days." "Want to talk about it?" Maya did. So she told Sophie everything. The drill, the torn patch, Master Sergeant Sea-eyed, the backlash today. She didn't usually share this much, but she needed her daughter to understand something important. When she finished, Sophie was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Mom, I'm proud of you." "For what?" "For not backing down. You always taught me to stand up for myself. Now you're actually doing it even though it's hard. That's really brave." Maya felt tears prick her eyes. "Thank you, baby. That means everything." "Are you going to be okay?" "Yes," Maya said and realized she meant it. "Yes, I am." After they hung up, Maya gathered her things and headed home. The base was quiet in the evening light. As she walked to her car, she passed Private Jennings and 2 other young soldiers. They all came to attention and saluted. Maya returned the salute, then Jennings spoke up. "Ma'am, we just wanted you to know there are people here who support you. We might not be loud about it, but we're paying attention. What you did matters." The other two soldiers nodded in agreement. "Thank you, Private," Maya said. "That means more than you know." As she drove off base that evening, Maya thought about what Seaide had said. She was being punished, yes, but she was also being watched by people who needed to see that standing up was possible. Friday afternoon brought an unexpected visitor to Maya's office. Colonel Warren himself, tall, silver-haired in his late 50s, with a chest full of medals and a reputation for fairness. "Captain Torres," he said from her doorway, "do you have a moment?" Maya stood immediately. "Of course, sir." Colonel Warren entered and closed the door. Unlike Morrison's intimidating visit, Warren's presence was measured and professional. He didn't sit, just stood near her desk with his hands clasped behind his back. "I've been reading the incident reports," he said. "Yours, Lieutenant Hale's, and Master Sergeant Rodriguez's. I've also been hearing things around the base. Office talk, rumors." "Yes, sir. I want you to know that I take this matter seriously. Very seriously. The formal review is scheduled for Monday at 0900 hours in the JAG office. You'll be asked to give your full account under oath. Do you have any concerns about that?" "No, sir. I'll tell the truth." Warren nodded. "I expect nothing less. I also want you to know that retaliation against you for filing this complaint is strictly prohibited. If anyone, and I mean anyone, makes your work environment hostile, you report it directly to me. Understood?" "Yes, sir." "Good." Warren moved toward the door, then paused. "Off the record, Captain, I've seen your service record. You're an excellent officer. This base is better for having you here. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." "Thank you, sir." After Warren left, Maya felt a weight lift slightly from her shoulders. At least someone at the top was paying attention. The weekend passed slowly. Maya spent Saturday getting her flag patch professionally repaired by Mrs. Chen, the seamstress Seaide had recommended. The elderly woman worked carefully, her hands still steady despite her age. "This patch has been through a lot," Mrs. Chen said, examining it closely. "It has," Maya agreed. 3 deployments. "Then it deserves respect." Mrs. Chen finished the last stitch and held it up to the light. "There, good as new, better even, it won't tear easily again." "Thank you, Mrs. Chen." The old woman smiled. "My husband was a soldier. Korea. He taught me that the uniform means something. Anyone who doesn't respect that doesn't deserve to wear it." Sunday evening, Maya couldn't sleep. She kept rehearsing her testimony in her mind, making sure she remembered every detail. The clock showed 2 in the morning when she finally drifted off. Monday morning arrived cold and gray. Maya put on a fresh uniform, pinning her repaired patch in place with care. She looked at herself in the mirror, shoulders back, chin up, eyes clear. She looked like a soldier. She looked strong. The JAG office was in the main administrative building. When Maya arrived at 0845, she found Master Sergeant Seaide waiting in the hallway. "Morning, Captain," he said. "Ready." "As I'll ever be." "Remember, stick to the facts. Stay calm, don't let them rattle you." At 0900 precisely, they were called in. The review board consisted of 3 officers: Colonel Warren, Lieutenant Colonel Patricia Reeves from the legal office, and Major James Hall from personnel. They sat behind a long table. A court reporter sat to the side, fingers poised over her keyboard. Lieutenant Hale was already there, sitting with his appointed representative, Captain Morrison. Of course, Morrison was representing him. "This hearing is convened to review the incident that occurred during combat training exercises on Wednesday, December 9th, Colonel Warren began. "Captain Torres, please come forward." Maya stepped up to the single chair facing the board. She was sworn in, then asked to give her account. She told the story exactly as it happened, leaving out nothing. Her voice remained steady throughout. When she finished, Lieutenant Colonel Reeves asked, Captain Torres, in your professional opinion, was Lieutenant Hale's action intentional or accidental? Intentional, ma'am. His words after the incident made that clear. What words specifically? He said, "Let's see who can save you, and maybe you should have secured the perimeter like I said." The tone was mocking. Morrison jumped in. "Objection, the captain is interpreting tone, which is subjective." "Noted," Warren said, "but the actual words are on record. Continue, Captain Torres." "That's all, sir." After that, Master Sergeant Rodriguez arrived. Next, Hale was called to testify. His story had changed slightly from his initial report. Now he claimed he'd simply been trying to redirect Maya's attention and hadn't noticed the patch tearing until after. He denied saying, "Let's see who can save you," claiming he'd only said something about following procedures. "You're under oath, Lieutenant," Warren reminded him. "Are you certain those were your words?" Hale hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, sir." Then Seide was called forward. The Master Sergeant gave his testimony with military precision. He described his position during the drill, what he'd observed through his binoculars, and what he'd heard as he approached. "Master Sergeant," Morrison said when Seide finished, "you were 50 yards away. Are you certain you heard the exact words Lieutenant Hale spoke?" "I was 47 yards away, Captain Morrison, and yes, I'm certain. The wind was minimal. Sound carried clearly. I heard Lieutenant Hale say, 'Let's see who can save you now.' Those were his exact words." Hale's face went pale. "Furthermore," Seide continued, "I observed Lieutenant Hale grab Captain Torres' shoulder deliberately. It was not a gesture. It was a grab. And when the patch tore, I saw him smirk. That's what made me intervene." "You're quite certain about these details?" Morrison pressed. "Captain Morrison, I've been training soldiers for 34 years. I know the difference between an accident and deliberate aggression. This was deliberate." The room went silent. Warren made notes on his pad. "Is there anyone else who witnessed this incident?" "Sir," a voice spoke from the back of the room. Everyone turned. Private Jennings stood up. "I was the simulated casualty, sir. I saw and heard everything." "Come forward, Private." Jennings walked to the chair with obvious nervousness, but once he was sworn in, his voice was clear. "Sir, Captain Torres reached me and immediately began treating my injuries. Lieutenant Hale shouted at her to secure the perimeter. She told him the patient came first. Then Lieutenant Hale came over, angry. He grabbed her shoulder hard. I saw her wince. The patch tore. Then he said something about 'let's see who can save you' and walked away. That's when the Master Sergeant showed up." "Thank you, Private," Warren said. "You're dismissed." After Jennings left, the board deliberated for only 15 minutes. When they returned, Colonel Warren's face was grave. "After reviewing all testimony and evidence," Warren said, "this board finds that Lieutenant Derek Hale did willfully and deliberately assault Captain Maya Torres during a training exercise. He did physically grab a superior officer. He did damage military property. And he did make threatening statements to that officer." Hale's head dropped. "Additionally," Warren continued, "Lieutenant Hale's testimony today contained deliberate falsehoods. He lied under oath about his words and actions. This is a serious offense." Warren's gaze moved to Hale. "Lieutenant Hale, you are hereby relieved of all training and command duties pending further review. You will report to the base commander's office at 1400 hours for disciplinary action. This incident will be noted in your permanent record. Dismissed." Hale stood, his face red with fury. As he passed Maya's chair, he leaned close and whispered, "This isn't over." "Lieutenant," Warren's voice cracked like a whip, "one more word and you'll face additional charges. Get out of my sight." Hale left quickly, Morrison trailing behind him. Warren turned to Maya. "Captain Torres, on behalf of Fort Harrison, I apologize for what you experienced. This behavior is unacceptable and does not represent the values of this command." "Thank you, sir." "You're dismissed, Captain, and welcome back to duty." Outside the JAG office, Seide waited. When Maya emerged, he smiled. "How do you feel?" "Honestly, exhausted, but relieved." "That's normal. You did good in there, held your composure, told the truth. That's all anyone can ask." As they walked back across the base, Maya noticed something different. Soldiers who'd been avoiding her all week now nodded respectfully. A few even came up to shake her hand or voice their support. Word had spread fast. Justice had been served. That evening, Maya called Sophie again. "Mom, how did it go?" "We won," Maya said simply. "The truth came out." "I knew it would. You're too stubborn to let them get away with it." Maya laughed. "I prefer persistent." "Whatever you call it, I'm proud of you. When are you coming to visit?" "Next month for sure, I promise." After they hung up, Maya sat on her small apartment couch and let herself feel everything she'd been holding back. The anger, the hurt,